Hey, today I want to go over how to get infinite returns on your investment when you're investing in real estate, multifamily real estate. So I stumbled upon this and I'm going to go over my example of it. And then I'm going to show you what we're looking to do over at Bell Capital for our investors. So you get it that I'm not making this up. And when I say I stumbled upon it, is because it was told to me, but not shown to me. And it's one thing for somebody to show you something and then you experience it for yourself, right? So years ago, I went off, I raised money for a multifamily property. And I'm going to use this one because I think this is more relative to a lot of people. If you're doing it on your own, it's relative. If you're like me, where you have a fund, you're raising capital, and you're looking at bigger deals, it's still relative. It's the strategy. It is how it's done. Like the wealthy have been doing it forever. Banks have been doing it. Institutions do it. Private equity does it. Anybody involved in institutional quality multifamily real estate, they do this all the time. But the little guy just started doing it, like the little investor, the people who are doing 10 units, 20 units, 50 units, 100 units, regular people like us, right? Like the everyday people. So we bought a deal for $1 million, right? It was a 10 unit deal. It was in Hawaii. At the time, nobody else was doing it. I hadn't done it. I had just come out of bankruptcy and I had to raise the money for that. So I went, I got a partner. I raised $250,000. We got a bank loan for $750,000 from a local lender, local bank. So stick with me on this. I'm talking about how to get an infinite return. So my buddy Ken Lee was the broker on that deal. He actually had the deal. I bought it from him. And this is all tax records. You can go online, you can take a look at it. Like that's the beautiful part about real estate is it's real. There's a track record. Like the title changed, went to my company from him to my LLC, which was Tug Mango LLC. And then after like it's all there. The address was 103 Mango Street in Waihoa. Anyways, we got this property. This was the debt. Got this money from the bank. Got this money from my partner. This was the equity that we needed. Boom. My buddy Ken was like, look, here's what you're gonna do. I had already bought a property from Ken. I bought a 17 unit deal for 2.9 million. We put down 300 grand. So we still owe 2.6 and we are still in that deal. So then I bought this deal right after, like back to back. And then I bought another deal right after. But for the example of infinite returns, we did this after 3 years. We had already had the property. My partner put up the money. Boom. So we had an investor, bank, put up the money in 3 years. I went back to the lender and then refinanced and we took out the 250. So this money went back to my partner, right? Now the deal was cash flowing the whole time, right? This is a smaller deal. Again, this was a long time ago, but I want to share with you how this works. So now this money went back to my partner. No tax on that, zero, right? Because it was a non-taxable event. This got raised up. This went up to like 975, I think it was, where we were. But it appraised for 1.5 million, right? Then we kept the deal for another 7 years. But we had no money in the deal. So this turned out to be an infinite return. Then when I'm gonna write that down. So now we had no more money in the deal. Stick with me. The 250 has already been returned to my partner, to our investors, right? To my partner, they're my investor. Then later we turned around and we sold the deal for 1.7 million. So we got another $700,000. That's 3x our money. We got a 3x return. Now that's just on this. That's not including on that deal we did roughly about $48,000 a year in cash flow, positive cash flow above the debt for that full 8 years or 9 years, whatever worked out to be, right? So that's not including this. I'm just pointing this out because it was really this. So we sold it for that, even though it was this seven was more closer to 140. Because I remember because I've told this story before. 1.1, basically $1.1 million was the total return that we got. So really it was more than 3x our money. It was closer to about 4.5 because of all the cash flow included. So that was an infinite return, but at the time that was new for me. I didn't know. My buddy was like, look, get the deal, raise the rents, go back to the lender, take your money out tax free, pay your partner back, and then you guys keep the deal and buy another deal, whatever you're going to do, which is what we did. So That's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything different. The difference of it is for the last, maybe from the time I was 24 to 25 years old to the time that I was, in my 50, I didn't raise money from the public. I didn't go to anybody else but my friends, my partners, business associates, and stuff like that. And I did deals with them, like my business, my wealthy or my rich buddies. So now I'm doing the same thing, but this is no different. So all of you people out there, when you hear it, you're like, oh, all these guys out there in multifamily real estate, standard people, they're talking about infinite returns. How's that possible? They're just borrowing money. That's the game. The lender actually was like, hey, Vic, do you want to take out more money? And I was like, no, we're just going to do that. They already know. And we did it on another deal. We took out that same amount of money. We bought that deal for 1.2 million. My partner put down 325,000. And then we did that. We refinanced, took that money out. And then later we went to market, again, took the money out, kept the deal for another 7 years, came to market, and we bought that one for 1.2. We sold that one for 1.9 million. Also in the tax records, right? That property was 243 Cole Street in Waiwa. So I'm bringing that up for you guys so you get an understanding. I'm not making this up. Bell Capital's investment strategy is not a made up strategy. So what we're looking for now, the size of deals that we're doing, the next deal, right? So right now, my target is anywhere from 80 to $100 million deal. That's what we're looking for, right? That's our target. That's our buy box, right? That's about 200 units, 220 units, 250 in San Diego County, things like that. So, but here's how I structure it. So we'll just use simple math. Let's say we did that deal for 100 million, right? Okay. We did that deal for 100 million and we're putting down 40. Stick with me on this. This is just equity plus the closing costs, all this other stuff. It's all rolled up. So my goal in this deal, right, is if we know we're putting down $40 million, my target is always going to be to get somewhere around 5% on our money a year. If we get 5% on our money a year, that's great. Now, it may not be in year one. Maybe when we buy it, we may be at 3.25 or 4. And then in year two, we're moving up to like 4.5. And then in year three, we're at 5. In year 4, we're at like 5.5 to 6. You're like it keeps going again because you're not going to get the same thing, but you got to have a target going in. If I can get 5%, great. But we're in higher quality assets. It's not always going to be the case. But that don't mean I don't gun for it, man. Trust me. So, anyways, this is the thing. But let's say we're in this deal for 10 years. This is how I underwrite a deal. I underwrite for worst case scenario. So stick with me on this. So I know that in this situation, that's 2 million. In 10 years, we'll have made 50% of our money back. That's 50% on our money. That's just cash flow. That's just money coming in on top of our money. That has nothing to do with anything else. And on top of that, let's just say I'm going to increase the income on the property by another 5%, but I'm only going to get that for 5 years. I'm not going to do it for all 10 years. Let's say 5 of the 10 years, like I said in my refinance, I may go back and be like, look, I raised the rents by income by 5%, whatever. Now, that's another $2 million a year, but we're only going to do it for 5 years, right? So that's going to be 10 million. Now, this together, that we will have made $30 million of cash flow on our money on the 40 million we put down, right? You get that? So stick with me on that. I'm just doing this back of napkin simple math because I want you to understand when I'm looking at a deal, I'm not an analyst. I don't need to run back to the sausage factory to the spreadsheets. I know there's always going to be something, but if I can pull this off and I can get close to it, I'm good. I'd rather get $30 million of our $40 million back to my investors, knowing that we're still sitting on a great cash flow property and we've got over 75% of our money back. All right. So then this is where the infinite return comes in. So then later, we still got our $40 million, right? Because that's capital preservation. We didn't lose any money. That money's been parked in the deal. $40 million is better than in real estate, in a piece of real estate that's cash flowing, that's institutional, is a great asset in a great location, is better than sitting in the bank, going down in value every year while it's cash flowing and getting a good return. Oh, by the way, that 5% for people like, I can get 5% in savings account. You don't get the tax benefits. So if I give you 5% on your money that you didn't have to pay 40% in taxes and because it's going to come back to you and earned, it's going to be on earned income that you didn't have to pay the other 40% out. That's like me, instead of giving you 5%, that 2% you would have had to pay out from the bank, just regular, it's like me giving you 7. So instead of giving you 5%, I'm giving you 7 because you didn't have to pay taxes on the 40% you would have had to had you not had the tax write-offs. I know it's a little complicated. Stick with me. I talk fast. I got it. But here's my point. Later, I'm going to go back and we're going to try to sell this property. I'm going to go back to market. I've already raised the rents. I know I can do that. We paid 100 for it. I know I got to go back in and I got to sell it for 140 million. Not impossible to do, right? If we did something for 10 years. So then later, so now we got our 40/40 back. That's $80 million. So our 40 million turned into 80, right? Plus the 30 million that we had got out in cash flow. That's 110 million here. But let's say here, I just went back to the bank and I refinance. I go back to Fannie or Fannie Mae or Freddie. Hopefully they don't get privatized and it changes stuff. It may, or I go to the debt market, or I go to a life co, or I go to a debt fund or whatever, right? I go to Wall Street and they go, cool, based on your numbers, based on raising the rents, based on good occupancy and good operations, and the management company you have is doing an awesome job, blah, blah, blah. And they go, we will allow you to refinance up to 65%, or let's say 67% loan to value of the new value, right? And let's say we're able to take out our 40 million bucks. That becomes an infinite return, because where does this go? This goes back to my investors. We haven't sold the property. We haven't got rid of it. We still are getting our cash flow every month on this property because it has to pay for the debt. But we have no more money in the deal and we didn't sell. And I'm not going to kick you out of the deal once we do that. Now, institutions, Blackstone, BlackRock, big players that have institutional partners, when they go back to the bank and refinance, they kick them out of those deals. They're not still in those deals. They give them their money back. You're done, right? That's how that goes. But I'm not doing that to people. I didn't do it to my last partners, and I'm not going to do it to you guys. So it'll be an infinite return, and then we sit on that deal. Then later, who knows? We may come back to market again. Let's say that's 110. Let's say we triple. We come back, and now we're going to come back to market and rip someone's head off, and the deal's worth 150 million. Now, we got an infinite return on our money because we put that money back in play. My goal is for us to have another deal. So let's say all the investors that put in on the 40 million now get to go and throw down on another deal that we have. So that money's working. Your interest or your equity is still sitting in this deal. You're getting cash flow. And then later we go to sell. And instead of making the 40, getting our 40 back plus 40, we make 80. That's 100. And so that's three times our money in that one, right? So that'd be 240. That'd be 240%. Really, it's infinite still. But I'm sorry, that's 3 3 times 4, that's 120. Sorry about that. So our 40 would have if we still had money in the deal, our 40 would have turned to 120 million on that situation. I probably screwed my math up because I'm thinking through this stuff. But you get it. The goal here is really this, regardless of what I'm talking about, the infinite return is the target because you got your money back. You're still in the deal. You're still getting cash flow. You're still getting the benefits. You're still getting the write-offs. And then later, if we doubled the 40 that we already took out, now we get our 40 back, which you already got back. Now you get another 80 million over the top of that, right? So that's really the game that I'm looking to play with people. Are you an accredited investor with 300,000 or more liquid in the bank? I want you to come and partner with me. Look, if you love real estate, passive income, and positive cash flow, appreciation over long periods of time, and you're willing to be patient, come invest with me. Go to bell-capital.com. This is for accredited investors with 300,000 or more in the bank, ready to go. Come invest with me. Go to bell-capital.com.